Hello! That was me introducing the whole thing. I don't know whether it's actually live, and that's the thing. I play the guitar maybe once a week, just before I go on air. This is the air. Hello, hello, hello. And then that's it. And while you're watching me, so any improvement, if there indeed be some, is from week to week. All that you see is me learning the guitar every week, a tiny little bit, maybe better, maybe worse. Who even knows? So, hello! This week I've been to Cardiff. I've been out and about. I actually filmed some stuff. I didn't put most of it up. I meant to, and then I forgot because the week's gone away from me. I was out on Monday and I didn't get back till Tuesday because it's very difficult to get to Cardiff and back in a day. Not like it used to be. Back in the day, I used to go, I want to go to Cardiff. I just get on a bus. I go, I'm in Cardiff. What's there to do in Cardiff? Nothing. Come back home again, no problem at all. But no, not now. Modern life is rubbish, so it's really difficult. So I got there and I had an evening meeting. The meeting didn't start till 6. It finished at like 10. So really, the last bus is well gone by then. There was no chance. Even if I got one, I'd still be stranded at the end of where it dumped me, and there was no other buses coming the rest of the way. So I was sort of stuck there, which is fine. Cardiff is nice, but Cardiff is not as good as it was. A lot of things were closed, a lot of things were boarded up. I put a little short up about I was just wandering down. It's like all the department stores are closed, and I found a Doctor Who location. And I was like, the next day I woke up and like, shall I go round and about? But it was raining and it was horrible. I went to the museum. Most of the museum was closed. So I was like, yeah, I'll just go home. I'll get home while I can, because if I leave it too late, I'll never get back, because the last buses, there's maybe 1 hour going part of the way, but not the whole way. I saw a bus, X30, it used to be the bus that went all the way past my house, and I was like, I ran to catch it. I'm like, I'll go home now. I'm like, the driver was outside smoking a cigarette on the side, and I was like, is this going to Cumbrawn? He's like, I was like, oh no, where's it go? It's Newport. So it's Cardiff to Newport, and it stops. And that's it. It used to go miles. It gets further and further. It used to be, I think, every half an hour or something. No. Very difficult. So everything is terrible. Everything is awful. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I've been. Everything is horrible. Everything is terrible. It's very, very sad. Very, very sad indeed. It was, yeah, so I did film some stuff and I meant to put it up, and I was like, one of the reasons that I was like looking forward to it is they built a new old canal, like and it looked lovely on the news. It was like, look, it's going to be the canal quarters. We will have shops and restaurants, and it will be amazing. It used to be, last time I visited, it was just a sort of really boring road with nothing happening in it. So I was like, I'll go and see that. So I got straight off the bus, and I was like, there it is. It's straight there. And I was like, because there was like builders doing roadwork, and you could sort of see a bit of the canal, but there was like fencing up, and there was a few people milling around, and it was so cold and wet and quiet, and loads of workmen sort of still digging it up. It wasn't finished. There weren't really any cafes or shops. It's like, oh well, this isn't what I was expecting at all. There was a bit of canal there, and a little waterfall thing, a little feature, and they were sort of like vegetation that was already dried up and looking a little bit mouldery. I was like, that's great. So regeneration isn't what it used to be. It isn't what it used to be at all. So that was nice. I thought, if I go to the hotel and then I'll get breakfast, but then breakfast cost like £9.80. I was like, because I'm trying to lose weight anyway, so I'm not like paying £5.80 for hardly ever. Wouldn't eat much of it anyway. It was a sort of, all you can eat breakfast, but I didn't want to eat anything, and it was all unhealthy stuff, and really not much that I could have eaten it anyway. So I didn't have that. What did I get? I went out to there was an M&S food thing, and I was like, it's an avocado and some stuff that is like almost expired that I bought. So I spent like £3.50 my breakfast, and I thought, oh, I'll save this throughout the day, because I was planning at that point to go on an excursion and go all the way around Cardiff and everything, but then I was like, so I was going to eat this throughout the day. It was going to be my lunch and everything. But then, as I said, went to the museum. I was like, I'll have fun at the museum. What? All the rooms were closed. Room 18 specifically, but room 18 is most of the top floor. And there was an exhibition of selfies, which was like people like Vincent van Gogh, Van Gogh. But I was like, oh, is that free to go into? And the guy said, it's pay what you want. I'm like, oh, I'll pay anything. I'll go home now then. So I went home. Very exciting. I mean, I could have gone to the dock, but there are farmers protesting at the dock, and I didn't want to go there and get caught up in that. I don't know whether the farmers have got a legitimate excuse for it or not, but they were still, I think they're still around protesting. So I didn't really want to do that. Really, we've got a new leader in the Labour leadership and in the Welsh leadership, Vaughan Gethin. He's the head of Wales now, so that's exciting. I wasn't there for that. I think he might have been like being sworn in or something. Maybe it was the day later. Anyway, I don't know whether he was the leader when I was down there, but he is now. Yeah, hello, Hickory, North Carolina, lovely Scott. Lovely Scott, I hope it's lovely there. I hope it's sunnier than it is here, because it's not sunny at all. It's really rainy. It's going to snow in Scotland. It's going to rain here. Easter is going to be dull. Easter is going to be ever so dull. But I thought Easter was this weekend. It's lovely here, good. I thought Easter was this weekend, because I'm ever so confused. Like most of the United States is far lower down in the world than the whole of Britain. So we are in more of a cold climate generally, I think, very much so. So we're sort of level with some of the colder parts of Canada. But we've got the Gulf Stream, so not necessarily as cold as Canada, just in the same basic region of the part of the Earth. If you believe that the Earth is round, which I do, because it is. It is a globe. We are on a globe. We are at the very tip of the globe. Which, if it was flat, then why are we not warm? You know? It's like, because we're at the cold bit. We're not the coldest bit that there is, but the colder than the average place bit. So, that's, that works when you're on a globe. It doesn't work. Well, I suppose it does work if we're really next to the ice wall. If there's an ice wall, we are it. Maybe we are flat. We're all flat, jammed up against the wall of ice that the flat earthers would have you believe is right at the edge, stopping you from falling off the end onto the elephants and the turtle below. I'm not sure whether they believe in the elephants and the turtles below. I haven't really gone into it. Whatever. I saw a map of China that China had apparently released in 1400 or 1300 or 1100, sometime before Columbus sailed the ocean blue and everything. Columbus. And it had what looked like North and South America, and it occurred to me that probably, yes, many people had visited the whole of Britain. The whole of Britain? The whole of the world. Britain is the world. Well, we are the world, yes. Yes, exactly. Novels of Discord, exactly. Glad you caught the reference. But also, other people have talked about the elephants on top of the turtle in space. And of course, Atlas holding up the Earth is another mythological, but he had a ball that he was holding up. So yeah, and there's I think the Egyptians had a sort of bow, like an arc that was being held up by Nut, I think, and somebody else. I think Nut was one of the god and a goddess holding up the firmament, the arc of the world, and then there's other gods underneath, and then the people, and then the underworld, and all the gods, like Thoth, and all them sort underneath that. Yeah. So yeah, but lots of people have different versions of the world. But all I know is we're in a cold bit of it, but not the coldest that there is. A medium cold bit, temperate region they call it. All right then, raining all the time is what I call it. But yeah, sometimes it doesn't rain. Gets very, very hot for about 4 days in the summer, and sometimes at the end of April as well. So we have had periods where the end of April's been ever so sunny, and then it goes back to winter again, and then it's very cold until about late July, and then it's very, very, very hot indeed. So hot that it's hotter than anything you've ever experienced anywhere, no matter where you're from, for about 3 days, and then it gets all cold and wet and windy again. So we complain about the fact that we're like, oh, we're going to die from the cold, and then we're going to expire from the heat, but mostly the cold. That's the status quo. It's the very, very coldness of the whole thing. Oh yes, well, very nice. I'm sure. Maybe you were indoors, possibly, if you were at an airbase. It's like, well, I'm in an airplane part of the time, and the rest of the time I'm underneath the canopies and the buildings and the cafes. Do they have cafes? The cantinas. I did the PX, is it called, where you go and have the food. My mum worked on an American airbase in Spain because my second cousin, her auntie, I don't know, maybe she's my great aunt, second cousin, great aunt, whatever. One of her relatives, I think it was her aunt, had married an American airman and moved to America, and so had her daughter married somebody and moved at the same time. And and so they were working in an American airbase in Spain, and they arranged for my mum to get a job there. And she was ever so excited, early 60s. And she went there, and she was like all planning to move to America afterwards and have a whole new life there. And she worked on the American airbase, and then they found out she wasn't American, and she wasn't Spanish either. And she'd apparently had an argument because somebody stole some earrings, and she accused somebody of stealing some earrings, and it all got nasty apparently. And they said, well, you're not welcome anymore, bye. So she came back to Britain. And that's the only reason I'm here, because if she had gone to America, then I wouldn't be there, because my father was not in America. So yeah, lucky. But she was working there and had every intention of being an American. And apparently she came back with an American accent, even though she'd been working in Spain. But I think she said that she was disillusioned because she'd looked at the Americans in all the movies and the movie stars and like Elvis and all sorts of people that were like glamorous and amazing. And then she met the Americans that were on the American airbase. And they weren't like that, and they were just not what she was expecting. So she was a little bit annoyed by that, but she came back with an American accent anyway, and her brothers and sisters, of which she had, she was one of 9, so there were a lot of them, really took the pee out of her, and so that was that. But my mother does like pick up accents quite easily, and I think she really wanted to be an American, but she's not. Sad but true. I don't think anybody wants to be American. Do you want to be American, Scott? You are American, I'm assuming. I don't know. Maybe it's every country's got its pros and its cons, hasn't it? Yes, you are. Do you like being American, or would you like to be something else? I don't know. Everyone wants to be something else until they are, and then they don't want to be that anymore. Usually, it's like, oh, if only I could be this other thing, and then they are this other thing. You wouldn't change it for anything, exactly. And would change it for anything, or wouldn't change it. Would not change it. It's like, yes, that's what I thought you meant. You wouldn't change it for the world. No, be proud of who you are and where you're from. Not overly proud. No, not like obnoxiously proud, but own it. It's like, yes, it is great. Be proud of who you are and where you're from. without being horrible to people that aren't from that background, I would say. It's like, be lovely to everyone, but be just maybe not be proud, but be own it. Yeah, exactly. Own who you are and own who everyone else is, and listen to who they are and accept them for who they are, and go with that, and don't be like, I'm better than you, but also don't be I'm worse than you. Just be happy to be who you are. Exactly. Be excellent to each other. Exactly. Bill and Ted, lot to answer for, but they are very, yes, they've changed history, Bill and Ted. So probably, was it for the better or was it for the worse? We don't know, do we? Because we are living in the Bill and Ted timeline. They've changed everything, obviously. So Bill and Ted are the reason we are who we are. Be excellent to each other. Yes, exactly. Oh, goodness me. So, sniffly. I'm going to sneeze. I think I'm going to sneeze. It breaks very well. Yes, I think maybe it's an ailment. My uncle worked for the RAF. I do not get on with my uncle. We fell out. We had a falling out recently because he's an uncle by marriage. And although he's got an interesting sense of humour, so not everybody's sense of humour gels, let's say, with other people's sense of humour. And he was really saying horrible things about me on Facebook, and I didn't. So I probably went too far as well, and now nobody from that side of the family's talking to me. Oh my goodness, Facebook's got a lot to answer for. I tell you what, you get on with your family, even though, they do things and you do things and everything's a little bit, but I tell you what, Facebook is responsible for more fallings out and more terrible schisms in families. Because I've fallen out with several members of my family because of schisms involving comments and politics being and personal insults and all sorts of things that probably should never have seen the light of day. You just keep it to yourself and don't talk about it, probably. But then the internet, you're like, oh yeah, and I think this, I think this, and it gets, and I was like, no, I'm not having this. So yes, people that I otherwise would have got on well with, but don't anymore because of Facebook. It's all Facebook's fault. Do you? Okay, fair enough. Well, blame who you need to blame, but really, it's Facebook. All that. Yeah. We don't have Democrats and Republicans over here. We have different colours of politicians. Some of them get on well with other people, and some of them definitely don't. Definitely don't. Definitely don't. Yes. So, yeah, politics is weird, isn't it? Because I think that probably what should happen is everybody stands for their little community or group of people and goes together and comes together and comes up with solutions that help everybody or the most possible people, with also taking account how other people might feel, so that nobody is discriminated against, but everybody gets the good of the world, and everything works as well as it can be, with concessions made for certain things. Yes, and everybody should work together. But what actually happens is little groups of people, little cliques, like horrible cliques that you would get in a school or something. It grows, and it's like, well, I think this is so. Well, I probably think that, but I'm going to say I don't think that because you said that you said you liked it. So because you like it, I don't like it. It's like, well, because you said that you don't like it, then I do like it. And then it gets very, very complicated, and people are weird. But yeah, and also there's like other groups going, you have to say this, I'll give you a load of money in order to say this, even though you don't really believe it. And then you get me some government contracts and everybody will be fine and everything will be good. Nobody will say anything and we'll be copacetic. That's a nice old-fashioned word. Copacetic. That's like a hippie word, isn't it? Is it a hippie word? Copacetic. It's what you expect somebody from 1968 to say. Anyway, Probably that's from where the politicians that are around now would have been about 30 or 40 at that time, and now they're still around. They're in their hundreds. They're early to late hundreds at the moment, because they do stick around. Specifically, it's an old person. So I think Gordon Brown, who was Prime Minister of this country, was interviewed recently, and he said that he is too old for British politics, but too young for American politics. So yeah. Good one, Gordon. And that's a funny thing, like all the leaders from past who were on completely different sides of the political spectrum in America and in Britain seem to get on really well with each other, because without that combative, weird childishness, you can find some common ground, and they realise that there is a lot of things that they probably should have agreed at the time and come together and done good things for everyone, but they didn't. Anyway, that's my take on politics. It's a load of old rubbish. It's like, yes, believe in things, but why are you believing in things just because somebody else isn't believing in it? What? No. It's just, what on earth? Anyway, yeah, so that's my hot take. So it's been a bit of a week, hasn't it? There's been stuff in the news that's been bizarre. To be honest, I think you can pick up on what bizarreness is. It's just like, and you've just fall down rabbit holes because people aren't helping. It's like things that are like, oh no, that's terrible news. But then you're like, but that's weird. That picture's weird. There's a lot of pictures that are very weird. I don't know who I'm talking about or what I'm talking about, but there's weird. And I think that AI has gone out of its way to make everything so confusing that nobody knows whether anything's real or not anymore. And so everything looks fake. Everything looks very real, but also very fake at the same time. So I don't know anymore what's going on. It's like, that looks sus. But then again, everything looks sus. Who controls the AI? Exactly. It controls itself. I was watching something about how there's like really bizarre pictures. Like, do you use the word copacetic often? Oh yeah, it's a good. It's thankless test. Yes, who controls? Can't trust Miss Weaver. Miss Weaver controls the Jackie Weaver. She's got no authority here, Jackie Weaver. Yes. So the AI apparently is controlled by the AI. That there are apparently really weird pictures, like Jesus with a lion and rescuing himself with spider legs and things like that. And what's happening is the AIs are releasing these pictures, and then other AI bots are picking up on these pictures and feeding off these pictures and using these pictures as the sources to make other pictures. So the pictures and the videos and the text and everything are getting weirder, ever more weirder, because they're feeding off each other. So you're like, well, that's weird. So that's when it's left to its own devices, AI gets very strange. But when people are involved and they go, I want a picture of this thing, a fluffy puppy dog with 5 heads and it's eating the moon, then it makes that for you, but then it looks weird, but it looks real. It looks like that really is happening. It's like, how is that 5-headed puppy dog actually eating the moon? How is it doing that? It looks so real. Yeah, and also this whole thing about the actors in Hollywood getting scanned and their images being used, and so they're not needed anymore. I think that's worrying on a lot of levels, really, because you don't know who's real and who's not. That everyone's been scanned in order to so that they can endorse things across the world without actually bothering to do it. It's like, well, that's good. I'll get paid to endorse PepsiCo Wichifu. That's Pepsi Wichifu. Pepsi Wichifu, which is a very, very high quality drink from Portugal, and I can go there and I can pretend that I'm drinking it, but I'm not going to actually do anything. They're just going to input it, and they've got my voice and my face, and then I can just sit here and take the money. It's like, oh, that's good, but then we don't need you anymore, so what are you going to do? It's like, well, I've got money. It's like, yeah, but we don't need you anymore. We don't actually need to give you the money anymore because we've got your image, and sorry, you didn't read the fine print. We don't have to pay you for it. We just can use you in perpetuity, forever and ever and ever and ever, as long as this technology carries on. And so we don't need you anymore. So yeah, and we can just make new celebrity out of you that's much nicer and younger and prettier. And so so there's no point anymore in anything. That's it. They've made it redundant. The whole world has made it so that you're not needed. Like all the labouring jobs and the factory jobs have gone, and all the manufacturing jobs, all the industrial labour and the steelworks and the mines and all that is gone. So in a way, that's good for the environment. But in another way, they don't need us anymore. They don't need us, and you can get little AI hoovers like Roombas and stuff. And you don't need people to even clean things anymore. They don't need any people to do any things. I think they need people to pick raspberries. You still can't get robots to pick raspberries because they would crush them into bits. So that's the only job available, because you can't do art or culture or interesting things anymore because they don't want you to do that. They're going to make it from AI. So there's no jobs left except picking raspberries. Which is, I've picked a lot of raspberries, and I tell you for nothing, that you end up with like little scratches all over you, and also it's really boring. It's a boring job where you get all scratched to pieces, and that's the only job available, and that's seasonal. Like, there's only like 3 or 4 weeks of raspberry season before little worms eat the raspberries and they go all rotten and dry up on the vine. So there's not much use for people anymore. I think we just have to admit that there's no point in any of us anymore. That's it. They want you to think we're not needed, but then it's like, what can you do? It's like the very rich people have taken all the money and all the fun, sucked it out of the world. There's no fun to be had anymore. And all the shops are closed in Cardiff. If you can get... Yes, exactly. AI is just... Ew. It's horrible. It's just all shiny and wrong. Ugh. Don't like AI. Thank you. Yes, I'm so fun. Fun to be around. I'm all that's left in the world. Everything's pointless except for me. I'm the only thing that's worth... Maybe I'm AI. Can you see the drawings? Yes, I'm definitely AI. Why would anybody create me? I don't know. What on earth? So yeah. So it's been a bit of a weird week, really. But I have gone out and about, and maybe I'll put the video up if I can. It's on my phone, so I need to extract it from my phone and everything. I don't know. It might not be able to do me, but I don't know. I wouldn't like to see it try. I'll come after it. It's my enemy. My natural enemy is AI. Yeah. I've got an A and an I in my name. I have got A's and I's in my name. Of course I have. I've got A's and I's in my second name. I haven't got any A's and I's in my first name. I've got A's and I's in my middle name as well. So yeah. I use AI all the time when I'm writing my name. But not otherwise. Oh. So, yeah. So it wasn't Easter this week at all. But next week, the clocks change in the Britain. I know they've already changed in America. I don't know whether they've changed other places in the world. It's all different times, all everywhere. But next week, the clocks change on the Saturday. So I will be back at possibly the time that you expect me to be if you're in America. And it will all be back to the right times for everything. So it will be 8 o'clock, but it will also be Easter. Should I do one on Easter? Does anyone care about Easter? Yeah, exactly. 4:28 local time. 4:28? Oh no, because I was like not dead on. Yeah, 4:28. So it would have started at 4. So next week it will start for you at the time you are, Scott. Probably 5, I'm assuming. Or maybe not. Or maybe the clocks go back. Or maybe it'll start at 3. I don't know. Is it spring forward, fall back? No, it'll start at 5. Exactly. Yeah, well now it's, yeah, exactly. Spring forward and fall back. Even though we call it autumn. Spring forward and fall back. So everybody gets an early night, an early night, a late night, an early night. Yeah, so it's 8 o'clock here. But next week, it'll be 8 o'clock at a different time. Wow, and that's because the world goes all turny and we keep changing the time. Anyway, so thank you very much for joining me at this other nothing much has happened, but I'm still here not being AI. So that's what I've got going for me. I'm not AI. That's the only thing left in the world. I'm definitely not AI. Yeah, anyway, I will see you again next week. Yeah, I'll do it. I haven't really got much happening on Easter. It's not like anything. So I'll see. Yes, I will stay real. You stay real too. I'll see you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye. See you soon.